For so many of us, the gym is, well, it's a sanctuary, right? It's all about structure, routine, making yourself better. It's organized, it's predictable, and most of all, it feels safe. But what happens when that safe space gets violated? Tonight, we're going to dive into 3, frankly, terrifying true stories where the one place people went to feel strong ended up making them feel completely powerless. So take our first narrator, a guy named Nolan. This is exactly how he saw it. For him, the gym was his constant, same time, same routine every single day. It's that classic third place, right? It's not home, it's not work. The rules are simple. You lift, you rest, you go home. And that rhythm, so many of us rely on that, not just for our bodies, but for our sanity. And that's really the question at the heart of all this. What happens when predictable becomes perilous? When someone else's obsession just smashes that routine to pieces? All of a sudden, those familiar faces you nod to every day, they become a source of absolute dread. That's the terrifying shift we're exploring here. All right, so first encounters. First, red flags. See, every story has to start somewhere, right? And they begin in the most normal, everyday ways you can imagine. But just under the surface, something is just off. You know that feeling? That little whisper from your gut that's so easy to brush off at first, but eventually, it gets impossible to ignore. Just think about how ridiculously normal these moments are. For Nolan, it starts with a head nod to a guy named Josh, just another regular who's always there. For a second storyteller, Louie, it's just a girl in a hoodie walking into the gym. And for a third narrator, it's a man sitting on a machine, not even working out. Seems like nothing, right? Nothing to see here. Except these were the opening moves, the first steps in what would become a full-blown stalking nightmare. So the shift, it's subtle at first. Josh asks Nolan for a spot. Totally normal gym stuff. But then, almost immediately, it turns into this rapid-fire interrogation about his personal life. It's jarring. Or for the narrator at the LA Fitness, a simple glance across the room turns into this constant, unnerving stare from a guy who never seems to lift a single weight. And just like that, the shared space of the gym, it doesn't feel shared anymore. It feels one-sided. And this is where we see that razor-thin line between normal and not normal. Look, a quick hello? Totally fine. Asking for a spot? Sure, that's normal gym behavior. But then you have the red flags, those intense personal questions, the staring, the hovering nearby, following you from machine to machine. It's often the first test, They're pushing your boundaries just a little bit to see what they can get away with. But sometimes the red flag isn't subtle at all. It's a giant blaring siren. This is what Louie and his friend Colton heard coming from the women's locker room right after that girl in the hoodie went inside. It sounded, in his words, unstable, like someone talking to themselves while having a breakdown. This wasn't just someone crying, having a bad day. No, this was something else entirely, something deeply, deeply unsettling. Okay, so this is where things go from just awkward to genuinely alarming. That gut feeling, that first little red flag, you can't ignore it anymore. The behavior is crossing a serious line. Nolan's story with Josh is a perfect example of how fast this can escalate. Look at this. Week 1, they just exchange Instagrams at the gym. Normal enough. By week 2, it's constant DMs, unsolicited coaching. Then week 3, things get really weird. They go to a festival and Josh starts using these strange, creepy voices and making really inappropriate jokes. And by week 4, he's straight up lying about a double date, all to get Nolan alone at a bar. Every single one of these steps was a calculated move to get closer and gain more control. And here's a pattern you see across these stories: the constant watching. The guy at LA Fitness actually caught his stalker holding up a phone angled just so, like he was secretly recording. And in Lewis's story, the girl, who they later found out was his friend's ex, Addie, she would just hover, always with a clear line of sight, never actually exercising, just watching. The gym stopped being their space, it became a stage, and they were the main attraction, whether they liked it or not. And this quote from Nolan's story, it's just so disturbing. He kept switching voices for no reason. He would laugh into another voice, like a creepy whisper saying my name. This shows Josh wasn't just socially awkward, right? This was a performance. It was manipulative. He was literally weaponizing Nolan's own name, using these creepy voices to intimidate him and just completely destabilize him. It's an incredibly chilling tactic. And this is the point of no return. This is the moment the threat stops being a weird feeling and becomes real. The fear isn't just in their heads anymore, it's a clear and present danger. And it's often, literally, right at their front door. That line between the gym and home, it's been completely shattered. So for Nolan, it starts like this. He's in his room, and suddenly, from the darkness outside his first-floor window, he hears his name. And it's spoken in that exact same fake spooky voice that Josh used. The stalker wasn't at the gym anymore. He knew where Nolan lived. He was right there. Meanwhile, for Louis, the threat is even more direct. It starts with knocks at his door. Then, the doorknob starts to shake, violently. This wasn't just someone knocking. This was someone actively trying to force their way inside. And all the while, he can hear this hysterical, terrifying laughter from the other side. And then there's the LA fitness narrator. For him, it all comes to a head on an isolated nature trail. The stalker had been jogging behind him, matching his pace step for step. And then, without warning, the footsteps behind him break into a full-on sprint. It became an actual chase, just pure primal predator-prey terror. So let's talk about the weapons of intimidation here, because they weren't always what you'd expect. Yes, there was physical stuff. Addie sent Louis a text with a photo of a knife she was holding right outside his house. Josh put a clean slice right in the sidewall of Nolan's tire, a crystal clear message that he was still being watched. But then you have the psychological stuff, like using a person's name in that fake spooky tone, a voice weaponized to create absolute torment. Okay, so once the immediate threat is over, that's not the end of the story. Surviving that moment is really only the first part of the battle. So let's look at the aftermath and, more importantly, what we can learn from how these people started to reclaim their safety after their entire world was turned upside down. The lingering impact is just immense. And you have to understand, this is all by design. Stalkers want to dismantle your sense of security. That hypervigilance, being paranoid in public, that's what happens when your safe space becomes a hunting ground. Feeling unsafe in your own room, that's the goal when they show up at your house. And having to completely disrupt your routine, change gyms, avoid places, that's part of it too. It isolates you and it shows you their power. But here's the thing, they fought back, and their actions really create a kind of playbook for how to deal with this. Step 1, cut off all contact. Block them everywhere. It removes the oxygen of attention they desperately crave. Step 2, change your routines. Go to the gym at a different time or a different location altogether. It breaks their ability to predict where you'll be. Step 3, inform the authorities. When there is an immediate threat, you call the police. And step 4, install security. Ring cameras, motion lights. It's all about taking back control of your own environment. It's a multi-layered defense because this is a multi-layered threat. And yet, even after all that, some questions just hang in the air. This final mystery from Louise's story, how did she get his address? He still has no idea. And that really highlights one of the most terrifying parts of stalking in our modern world, doesn't it? Just how easily a determined person can jump from your digital life to your physical front door. It leaves you with this deep, lasting feeling of vulnerability. And that brings us to this final, chilling thought from Nolan. Quote, "Once someone like that decides you're their friend, good luck getting them out of your life." Wow. I mean, that just perfectly captures the twisted logic at the heart of this kind of obsession. It's not about friendship, it's not about connection, it's about possession. The stalker doesn't see a person, they see an object they feel entitled to. And I think understanding that, realizing you're not dealing with a misunderstanding, but with a campaign for control, that might just be the most important lesson we can take away from all of this.